I want to make something clear here as we talk about Trump, and I feel like I say this every week, but it deserves repeating. I think that there is a fundamental difference in talking about Donald Trump in the context of this election than there is really any other candidate at any other time when you're this far out. Because people say, oh, I don't want to hear any horse race talk. Well, this goes beyond the horse race, because what Donald Trump is doing, and I happen to, though I have been completely unsurprised by the popularity he has been greeted with, and I do think he's going to win a couple of caucuses and primaries. I do think there is a ceiling on his support in the Republican Party. It's massive. It's a massive quadrant of the Republican Party, and in some ways an astonishing one considering what his positions are. But the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is doing two things that, in my mind, are very helpful for America in the long run. One is he is completely exposing who the Republican Party is. Or I should start with, let me start with number one being, he is forcing the rest of the 17-person Republican presidential primary field to follow him down a treacherous road. And that treacherous road is the one where what the Republican Party, what the conservative movement stands for, is laid bare. And that's the number two. He is laying bare the agenda of the Republican Party as imparted to Republican voters and now being reflected back upon those who want to be president. The Frankenstein, in other words, Frankenstein's monster is now walking around animated. Frankenstein's monster is not just walking around, he's dancing, he's going out and having dinner, he's using the credit card, he's playing some golf, and sure enough, we are starting to see the mainstream media, to a certain extent, they still want to pretend this is all about Donald Trump rather than about the Republican Party. But we are slowly starting to see them ask the question, is this who the Republican Party is? And of course, we know the answer. The answer is yes.
You know, Trump really is the greatest thing that could have happened to American politics, ahead of this 2016 election. It is important to point out that he is the end result of what the Republican Party has become. He's not making the party worse. He's just showing us what we all already suspected. It's something we've been talking about on Ring of Fire for years and years. Occasionally you would get these stories of, a Republican makes a racist remark, but then you have, leadership of the party come out and say, whoa, we don't stand by this guy. But now we don't have that anymore, because as a whole, as a party, as a group, the Republicans do not know what they stand for. And so Trump is able to pull them this way, pull them that way, launch his little war against immigrants, launch, this anchor baby talking point that now Jeb Bush tries to use, and he comes across even more racist than Trump, but he's pulling them along with him. He is saying, if you want the kind of support that I'm getting, you'd better follow me here. And because the Republicans don't know who they are or what they stand for, they're more than willing to be these political chameleons that just change based on what they see is working for somebody else.
Well, all right. Let me agree and disagree with you. One, I absolutely agree that Donald Trump is pulling them along. And two, I disagree that they don't know who they are. It's just that they don't feel comfortable that, or I should say, they are aware of the fact that, and this goes back to that principle that we talked about when Michelle Bachmann had that fateful response to President Obama's State of the Union address, and she was doing a closed-circuit TV presentation to the Tea Party Express or Nation or some group, via closed circuit, but also CNN had set a camera up there. And so she's talking into the Tea Party camera, and we're all looking at her, though, from the CNN camera. That's where the normal people were tuning in. And she looked completely insane, because you cannot speak to the base of the Republican Party and look sane to the rest of normal America, and vice versa. You cannot speak to normal America and look sane to the Tea Party or the base of the Republican Party. And so Jeb Bush et al., they know what they stand for. They know what's going to bring their base along. But they also knew, at least going into this, we can't articulate it. Because if we articulate it, people are going to see that in the general election, and the normal people will not vote for us. So in 2013, when Jeb Bush was part of the 2012 autopsy and signed a document that says that we should not be using the words anchor baby. But then 2 short years or 3 short years later, he is using the words anchor baby, which I guarantee you 3 months ago, he would have said, he would have bet you his entire, the George Bush fortune that he would never say such words. He is using it. And then to make matters even worse, to show how, and of course all this does, it makes him look like he's being bullied and whipped around by Donald Trump. Then he goes down to the border in McAllen, Texas, and explains that, well, no, I wasn't actually talking about Mexicans or Latin Americans. I was talking about Asians as anchor babies. Now, Jeb Bush again makes a total fool of himself and does it in sort of bowing down to Donald Trump.